Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga. Welcome. This is Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. Welcome. So glad that you're here. This is a perfect class if you are both an experienced yogi or if you're new to yoga. If you're brand new to yoga, this is a perfect class for you because we slow things down, we take our time, and I break things down, and we don't do too many poses. So welcome. So this class I've called Spinal Balance. So that means that we're going to be focusing on our backs a little bit, our spines, and there's actually a pose called Spinal Balance, which we will be doing today. Here's some props that you may want to use for this class. One of the main features of this practice is that we want to take care of ourselves and support ourselves. So we like to use props as a way to support our bodies and take care of ourselves. So you may want to have a blanket or something soft. It could even be a folded towel that you can kneel on and lie down on. So a blanket or towel. And then maybe a couple of yoga blocks, if you happen to have them, or something firm. It could even be a couple of books. And then what you could do if they're something that has some sharp edges or hard edges, what you can do is use that, but then like lay a towel over it. Okay, so you can use that. And then lastly, you may need actually some big cushion or pillow. I've got a yoga bolster which is going to work for one of the poses that we're going to be doing. So if you happen to have something like this, it could even be like a big cushion from your sofa, or a big pillow if you have it, or even just a regular bed pillow. But what you may need in addition to that, if it's just a smaller like bed pillow, maybe a couple of towels that you can wrap around it, or going back to the blocks, you could use those blocks or books again with a blanket or towel wrapped over it. And you'll see for the particular pose that we'll be doing today. Okay, so I think that's all the props that we'll need. Feel free to have a bottled water, and we're ready to start our practice. We do like to start in seated. So find a comfortable seat, and that can be with your legs crossed. You don't have to cross your legs. This is comfortable for me. And you want to sit up nice and tall. If you need a little extra support, then you might want to sit up against a wall. You can even sit in a chair for this first portion of our practice. We're going to be in stillness for the first few minutes and focusing on our breathing. I'm sitting on a blanket. You're welcome to sit on a blanket or something soft to give you a little lift. And here we go. So your arms can just relax down by your side. Hands on your knees or lap. Just start with a few deep breaths. You might breathe in deeply through your nose. You can exhale through your nose or out through your mouth. If you breathe out through your mouth, you might breathe out with a nice sigh. Just settling in, just feeling yourself arrive in this moment. And as you feel your body settling, just continue with slow, steady breaths in and out. And you can do this with your eyes opened if you'd like, just gazing forward or even downward at the ground. You can do this with your eyes closed, and you can imagine taking a journey inside of yourself. And that's a nice way to pay attention to what's going on inside of you, take notice of what's going on inside of you, and perhaps feeling what this practice can help you with. So again, just slow, steady breaths in and out. Again, this could be through your nose, it could be through your mouth. Just sitting in stillness and silence. Perhaps just listening to the sound of your breath and feeling the sensation of your breath as you breathe in and out. Just to bring a little bit more awareness to your breath, you may want to inhale deeply enough where you can feel or imagine the breath rising to fill up your lungs. And then exhale, drawing your navel inward towards your spine. Just a light engagement here, just focusing on your center. Again, an inhale, even sitting up a little taller in your seat, breath rising, feeling that nice expansiveness in your chest and lungs. And then your exhale, drawing belly in to create what we call the abdominal lock, drawing navel inward towards spine. And just continue breathing like that. Very good. This is our breathing meditation. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths while you sit in stillness, still focusing on your breath. And then we'll add on to our breathing with some easy movements. This is our moving meditation. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and inhale and extend both arms out across the room, reaching out, then all the way up, completing the full breath in. And then as you exhale, extend your arms out and let them float back down by your side. Just take your time with that. Really just move with your own pace of breath. Again, inhale, reaching out. Good energy through your arms, hands, and fingers. Reaching out and all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, continue this reaching sensation, reaching across the room. Exhaling to bring the arms back down. And just continue on your own. Again, breathing at your own pace, moving at your own pace. And as you're moving in slow motion, just notice the sensation and energy in your arms as they float up and down. Be aware of your shoulders in motion, allowing your arms to rise up. And again, as the arms go up into the air, maybe you'll feel a lengthening through your torso and even through your spine. Just find yourself sitting up just a tad bit taller. Remember, when you exhale, continue to draw your navel inward towards your spine. When we create the abdominal lock, it really supports the body, whether you're in stillness or in motion. Go ahead and complete the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. Breathing in and out, still extending your arms up and down. And when you're complete, you can just bring your arms down, let them relax again in your lap. And feel your arms and shoulders and your back also relax. And just return to the sensation of your breath. So from here, you're going to take your hands behind you. You can just lean back and press right down into your palms or come up onto your fingertips, which is what I like to do because it's less pressure on the wrists right here. So both hands behind you with the arms back behind you like this. A little extra effort of drawing the shoulders back right there so you feel an opening up through the chest. You might even lean back just a little bit. And then tip your chin up a tiny bit as well, not too far. You don't want to strain your neck. So right about here is good. Now, press firmly into the ground with your palms or fingertips. Feel the energy in your arms. Shoot right up into the shoulders. Notice that feeling. Now continue doing that and add an inhale as you press into the ground. Still feel your breath rising to fill up your lungs. Keep the energy in your arms. When you exhale, if you can, squeeze your shoulder blades together in addition to drawing your navel inward towards spine. So with these feelings, you're adding more sensation. These movements, you're adding more sensation to the body. So again, inhale, pressing into the ground, strong arms, shoulders rolled back, heart opening, lengthening through spine. Exhale, draw belly in, squeezing shoulder blades together. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths like this, still feeling the energetic body. We're in what I call a mild seated back bend. Now, one of the poses we'll be doing later is another back bend, which is why we'll need that big cushion. Go ahead and lower your chin after that 3rd breath, looking forward. Walk your hands towards yourself so you can rise up nice and tall in your seat. And again, you can just bring your arms down by your side, hands resting in your lap. You might give them a little shake there too. And then return to the sensation of breath. So we created a back bend. Let's go ahead and create a forward fold. So if your legs are crossed here, we're going to reposition them. So uncross the legs and just have the soles of the feet touch. Now, an adjustment here that you could make is you could bring the heels in pretty close, which is pretty typical for this pose because it's a nice hip opener, but that also means a deep bend in the knees. But you don't, If your knees have less mobility, then it's okay to actually slide or have the feet farther forward so there's less bend in the knees. And of course, the legs here do not have to touch the ground. This is where your blocks or books or even some smaller pillows could come in handy. So you can just put them underneath here, let the legs rest right there. Then just go ahead and hold on to your shins, whatever you can reach comfortably right here on the legs. Hold on to them and use them as kind of like handlebars so you can inhale and sit up as tall as can be, more lengthen in the spine. Exhale to draw belly in. Hold here. We're going to stay nice and tall here for a moment. We are going to hinge forward, but since we're working on spine, really think about spine, getting as tall as we can. Think of your torso also lifting up out of the pelvis. That's our in-breath. We want to keep that lengthened, lifted sensation. That's the exhale when we draw belly in. Okay, do that one more time. Stay seated in place. Nice and tall, inhale. Exhale, navel to spine, connect. Now we'll start to hinge forward. Another breath in, get as tall as can be. Exhale, draw belly in, ready to move, and start to hinge forward just a little bit. Not too far, just a little bit. If you need to reposition your hands on your legs, that's fine. Inhale, more lengthen the spine at this new angle, even though it might not be too much. Exhale again, pull belly in, and perhaps, if you'd like, hinge forward a little bit more. And you don't have to go too far with this. Now, I think I'm going to go one more step with this. Inhaling, lengthening spine, exhale, hinge forward. And for me, this feels just about right. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. Actually, I feel quite relaxed. I feel like I could hold this for a long period of time. Not too long, but it doesn't feel like my body is strained in any way. And I can feel a good lengthening in the spine and torso. I feel lifted. And with the hinge forward, I'm starting to feel a stretch in the inner legs. Now, you certainly can go a little deeper, but you're not required to do so. With our soft flow practice, it's not so much about how deep you can go into a pose, but part of it is actually, can we soften the pose a little bit, but still have great benefit from it? One of the things we like to kind of challenge ourselves in a class like this is, can we maintain this calmness and sense of ease throughout the entire practice? And that might mean working at about 60% rather than 100%. All right, 2 more breaths. Then we'll inhale and come right back up, sitting as tall as can be. As we're coming back up, you also want to feel like you're rising up. Then exhale, navel to spine. Continue breathing, but just hold for a moment. Just returning to stillness. Let's get ready for our next pose. We're going to move our blocks or props out of the way here. We're going to keep using the blanket or towel if you're using it, but manipulate your body slowly and carefully to come to your hands and knees. I'm going to unfold my blanket so I've got more of a rectangle shape. That way I can place my knees and my hands here on the soft cushion right here. Let's take cat and cow. Now, this is a great spinal exercise. So when you inhale, you'll look forward, arching your back a little bit. So you're creating a little bit of a back bend. Can you tell that I'm arched in my back? Exhale, round it, pulling belly button up towards spine. Feel that nice curvature in your spine as you tip your chin towards your chest. We'll do that again. Inhale, tip your pelvis back. We'll start that arch in the back. Send your heart forward and just look forward. This is cow pose. Exhale, round it out. And this is cat pose. Now you can go at your own pace. I recommend going slowly or just moving at the pace of your breath. Once again, still work at 60%. You don't have to go too quickly or move too deeply into these 2 poses that we do together in a flowing action. Pay attention to your spine. I think of this as a nice undulation of the spine, getting great mobility and flexibility throughout your whole back, which is well supported by the spinal cord, and of course all the muscles, ligaments, tendons, everything else Let's really think about that center line, the spine. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more. After the second breath, just return to a neutral position here on your hands and knees, a little tabletop posture. We'll take a quick little rest, move into child's pose. What you may want to do is take the knees a little bit wider, if that feels good. Start to sit back. Now, if you can, your hips can come all the way down to your heels, but they don't have to reach completely. Again, just being aware of your ankles, but mostly aware of your knees. If you are able to sit all the way back, your arms are extended out front, your forehead can come down to your blanket, or if you need a little prop, bring in a block or a book. And just hold here for a moment. Nice extension out through your arms, a lengthening in the spine. And there's a slight curve perhaps in the spine, but it should feel good. Now, if your hips don't go all the way down, you might be up a little bit. And here you might just want to bring your elbows to the floor like so. Relax your head and neck. Now, there might be a little bit of an arch in the back, something like this. And this is just a variation that we sometimes call puppy pose. So just be aware of your joints, especially your knees and ankles. Wherever you are, just notice whatever shape your spine happens to be in. And that just depends on what pose you're in. Wherever you are, just take 3 more breaths. We're going to move very slowly and return to our hands and knees. So you may want to come back up onto your hands, move your blocks and books out of the way, even crawl off of your blanket or towel and move that out of the way. Return to hands and knees for your tabletop. Then we're going to step the hands forward. At first they might be, your wrists will probably directly underneath your shoulders, drawing this straight line. But now we want to step the hands forward, just taking some of that pressure off the wrists, but getting ready for down dog. When you step your hands forward, spread out your fingers pretty wide, so you get a stretch between each finger. Press with some firmness into the ground with your palms to flatten and stretch your hands. That feels good. And your arms feel strong and energized. Tuck your toes underneath like this. Let's do another cat and cow flow. So inhale, look up or forward, slight arch of the back as you tip the pelvis back. Exhale, tuck it all underneath. Pull belly button up towards spine, chin to chest, rounded spine. Hold that sensation, cat pose. Then lift your knees and hips respectively up into the air. Now you might need to adjust your feet a little bit on your mat, even your hands. I like to take my hands a little bit wider. It just provides a little bit more space for my shoulders. 2 more seconds here in this pose. And then just look straight down at the mat and start stepping forward with the feet until maybe you're standing in the center of your mat. So your feet are flat on the ground. You'll be in a deep forward fold, but you'll inhale, slide your hands up the legs, up to your knees or thighs if you like, to extend your spine so you're flat like a table. Exhale, fold. Now hold here. Now, you don't have to go all the way down. You might even bring in some blocks. I'm just leaning on the blocks here just to help support my body in the fold. That also actually relieves some of the pressure, potential pressure in the back, but you can also just literally just hang heavily forward if that feels okay. So you'll create a natural curve in the spine. Your head, if you just kind of drop your head a little bit, imagine there was a string or a line coming out of the very top of your head directly down towards the floor. And you're being drawn down that direction. So a curve in the spine, allowing gravity to assist the lengthening in the spine, even though it is rounded. Now, once again, slide your hands back up the legs, all the way up to your thighs perhaps, maybe way up here. Exhale, push hips back a little bit, crown forward, knees bent. Now you may be parallel to the ground, but it's okay to be a little higher than that. Just be aware, if you're able, if your back as straight as can be, to help with that, especially if you can't really see yourself, feel like your hips are being drawn to the wall behind you, while the very top of your head is being drawn to the wall in front of you. So there's a lengthening action. Now shift your weight into your heels. Press firmly into the ground with your heels to straighten your legs, standing up tall, facing forward. Then extend your arms all the way up into the air, growing even taller. Exhale, bring your arms down by your side. Very nice. I'm going to turn sideways for a moment. One thing we want to be able to do in mountain pose is, we're practicing, relatively good posture here. So be aware if your shoulders tend to roll forward and you feel kind of hunched. All you have to do is just really kind of roll the shoulders back, relax down the sides of your body, a nice long neck looking forward. This is a comfortable, well, relatively comfortable mountain pose and provides good posture throughout the body. Also, what helps is an even distribution of weight left and right. Let's go through that fold and coming back up sensation again. That's our half salute to the sun. Follow me. Let's inhale, extend the arms up into the air, growing tall, more length in the spine. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees. Feel like you're sitting back and down into a chair that's behind you. Slowly fold. Let your hands drop. Maybe touch your shins or ankles. Let the head drop. Inhale, slide your hands up the legs, maybe to knees or thighs, to extend your spine. Long, flat back. Exhale, we're rounding it all out, going back down. Let your head drop. Maybe you can see between your knees towards the wall behind you. Shifting weight into the heels, bend your knees, sit down into the imaginary chair. Now look forward. Drive heels into the floor, straighten your legs, rise up tall, heart forward. Reach arms up into the air, big stretch. Another extra second up tall. Exhale, arms back down by your side. Once your arms come down, just one little extra roll of the shoulders back and down for good posture. Take a breath or two. All right. What we like to do in this class is do a variation of Warrior One. Okay, it's a lunge. And so we'll start at the top of the mat, mountain pose, and just follow me. We'll start by putting a bend in the knees. Bend the knees and keep that bend. Now start shifting weight into your right foot. Just press firmly into the ground with your right foot. You're going to lean forward just a tiny bit, and then start stepping or tapping your left foot back. Doesn't have to go back too far, just enough where maybe you're balancing on your toes, your big toe, or even just see how my foot is curved or arched, just balancing on the balls of the foot back there. And then I'm going to turn that back foot and press the heel into the ground, which settles my body into a centered pocket place right there. So this is our lunge. It's not very wide and it doesn't have to be. From here, just place your hands on your hips. Feel like you're pushing your pelvis down with the hands, but then lift up through the torso. Roll shoulders back, just more length in the spine. And we also create more space in the belt line when we do that. And then start to turn to face directly forward, facing the same direction as your right knee and toes. From here, inhale to extend your arms up into the air, and exhale, just hold the posture. If this is a little bit too much sensation or effort in the shoulders, feel free to bend your elbows significantly if you want to, even this much if you want to, okay? We'll hold here for several breaths, being aware of your balance on 2 feet, not too wide of a stance, and in our variation of Warrior One. We'll inhale, grow tall by reaching arms straight up. We're going to exhale, hinge forward, so we're putting weight and pressure into the right foot. Step forward with the left foot. Stand up all the way, straight legs, look forward, reach up. Exhale, bring arms back down by your side. You can give your arms a little shake, roll the shoulders back. Prepared now for our second side. We'll start by putting a bend in the knees, keep them bent. Shift weight into left foot, nice press into the ground there. Hinge forward a tiny bit. Start stepping or tapping the right foot back. Again, not too far, enough where you still feel balanced just on the balls of the foot. Kind of an arched foot back there. Pivot or turn the right heel to the floor, press. And what happens when I turn that leg, my right leg actually turns, my toes are kind of pointing out to that back angle over there. Left knee bent, knee and toes pointing directly forward. Now place hands on hips. Push down with the hands. Lift up through the torso. Inhale when you do that. And with the exhale, a slight turn, mostly turning so you're facing directly forward. Now another inhale to extend your arms up into the air. You can exhale to stay here or even bend the elbows slightly just to keep things relaxed in your shoulders and neck. And just take a couple more breaths. Again, you want to feel like you could hold this for maybe 20 or 25 breaths. Okay, of course, we're not going to do that, but you want to feel comfortable enough that you can hold this and not feel too strained or pressured. Let's go ahead and inhale, reach the arms up into the air. I'm going to exhale, start to hinge forward a little bit, putting pressure into the left foot, and then step the right foot forward to meet the other. Stand up nice and tall, straight legs, torso look forward, reach up, inhale, exhale, arms back down by your side. And again, give them a little shake. Alrighty. Now we'll go through a sequence which will take us to our second version of Warrior One. Just a different version of our sun salutation. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the sky. Each time we extend the arms up, think of lengthening your spine, getting very tall. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, and sit back and down into your seat. Make your way down, forward fold. Take your time. Inhale, let's rise up halfway, elongating through your spine as best as you can. When you exhale, slowly fold. Let the back bend and round, coming down. Bending the knees more until you can place your hands on the mat in front of your feet and start stepping both feet back to the back end of your mat. Straighten the whole body, including the spine, until you're in plank pose for a few seconds. We'll breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees as if you're going to kneel down, but then lift your hips up into the air. It's a return to downward facing dog. Adjust your feet, adjust your hands. Press hands firmly into the ground. Strong arms. Bend the knees, keep the knees soft, hips lift. This elongates through the spine. It's helping you to lengthen through your torso. Now, we're going to inhale, lift the right foot off the floor and extend the whole leg back behind you. Reach long. It doesn't have to lift high. Exhale, bend the right knee. Bring the right knee in and underneath you towards your chest or your chin. As you bring it forward, shift your upper body forward until your shoulders are stacked over your wrists. Then just place the right foot down on the ground. Then gently set your left knee on the ground. So you're kind of kneeling here for a second. This should allow you to pick up your right hand and go grab and pick up your right foot and step it up a little higher up on the mat. Replant the right hand. We're essentially creating more space between the feet. Relift the left knee. Pivot or turn the left heel to the floor. Your toes will turn out to the side of the room. Try to rise up onto your fingertips, allowing your torso and your spine to lengthen as long as can be. And you're kind of lengthened out over your right thigh. Now walk both hands up to your right thigh to lift yourself up a little bit more. Keep the spine as straight as possible, but we're at a 45-degree angle. Feet pressing strongly into the ground. Extend your arms out and then up into the air, reaching high. Inhale. Exhale, lunge a little deeper. Here's Warrior One. Again, you can soften the shoulders and elbows. But a different feeling perhaps in this back leg, since there's more distance between the feet in our second variation of Warrior One. We're going to continue with this. Inhale, shoot both arms straight up if they aren't already. Exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room. Bring your arms down to parallel. You'll be in Warrior Two. Reach through the arms, bring a little bit more energy into the arms. We're going to follow the right hand forward as if you're reaching out to get something with the right hand to angle the upper half of the body. Rotate your arms to bring right arm down, maybe to the inside of your right leg, while your left hand extends with some energy up towards the ceiling. This is side angle pose. A couple breaths here, not too long, just to feel some opening. We'll inhale, and our exhale to carefully turn so you can face the floor. Fold and bend. Bend the right knee, your back might round. Then bring your palms back down to the ground. Plant them. Relift that left heel so everything's facing directly forward. More pressure into the mat with the hands so you can slide the right foot back into plank pose. Then bend the knees a little bit, send your hips up into the air, downward facing dog. Adjust the feet and hands. We'll do the exact same thing other side.
Inhale, pick up your left foot and extend the left leg back behind you. It doesn't have to lift high. When you exhale, bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you towards your chest as your whole upper body shifts forward so your shoulders are over the wrists. And then just place the left foot down, just be your toes. And then gently set the right knee down so you're kneeling. So we can go pick up the left foot, place it up higher on the mat, replant the left hand, pick up the left knee, pivot or turn right heel to the floor. Put some more pressure in that back foot. Rise up to your fingertips, extend your spine and torso straight out over your left thigh. As best as you can, the crown of your head, the very top of your head is pointing forward. Now walk both hands up to your thigh, lift to just about 45 degrees, paying attention to lengthening the spine and torso. More pressure into the ground with the feet so you feel grounded. Now inhale, extend your arms out to the side and up into the air as you face forward. Inhale. Exhale, lunge a little deeper. Feel free to soften the arms. Let's hold here for several breaths. Nice deep lunge sensation. Opening up through the right hip flexor now on that right side. Continuing, inhale, shoot the arms straight up into the air. Exhale, turn your torso towards the right side of the room, bringing your arms down to parallel. They'll be extended out over your legs. Keep reaching in these opposite directions through the hands. Warrior two. Reach forward as if you're going to grab something with the left hand, angled upper body. Rotate the arms, bring the left hand down, right arm reaching up into the air. Hold and breathe. Here we go, breathing in. As we exhale, carefully turn so you're facing the ground. Start to fold, bending. Place and plant the hands into the mat. Re-lift that right heel. Everything's facing forward in this lunge. More pressure into the ground with the hands so you can slide the left foot back. Plank. Hold for 2 more seconds. And now we're going to bring the knees to the floor. Sit back a bit just to get the weight off the hands. We're going to bring that blanket or towel back in. We're going to move right into that pose I talked about, Spinal Balance, and that's the name of our class today. So Spinal Balance. So you want something soft for your knees and your wrists. We'll start on our hands and knees like we did a little earlier. We're going to do cat and cow again. So first an inhale to look forward, arching the back, pelvis tips back to create that back bend feel. Exhale, round it out. Belly button pulls up towards spine, rounded spine, chin to chest. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, look up or forward, arching the back. The belly will feel like it drops. Exhale, round it out. Okay, last one, follow me. We're going to inhale, look up or forward, arch the back, back bend, cow. Exhale, round it out. Cat. Hold cat pose. Keep breathing, but hold the pose. Okay? You want to feel kind of this pressure of the hands into the ground or your blanket. Okay, so you feel strong and a rounded sense in your upper back. Start shifting your weight slowly into your right knee. Your right knee. Then picking up the left knee and extend the left leg back, but keep the toes on the ground for balance. So the left leg is now straight, but keep the toes on the ground. As we extend the leg, you'll feel that your back is starting to lengthen. Now, you're going to pick up your right hand and extend it forward, reaching towards the front of the room. Lift your head just a tiny bit so your chin isn't tucked down, but you're looking directly down so your neck is long. Reach more through your right hand, and if you're able, pick up your left foot. Okay, the one behind you. It doesn't have to lift very high. This is spinal balance. So we're trying to stay balanced in this position while we've got the opposite limbs, right hand and left leg, lifting into the air. We're breathing in to reach. Now exhale, bring the right hand and left knee back down to the ground. Let's take a rest. Let's come back to child's pose. Feel free to take the knees a little wider so they're out from underneath the hips. Sit back if you can go all the way down. Arms extend. Bring in a prop if you'd like to support your forehead. And if your shoulders or wrists need a little bit more relaxation, rather than reach forward with the arms, you can reach kind of behind you with less effort. They can actually just hang here and relax. This feels good. Feels good on the shoulders because they're not engaged anymore. So that's spinal balance. Trying your best to keep the torso level to the ground without tipping over to one side or the other, but level to the ground as the opposite limbs extend. Okay, we're going to come back up to hands and knees so we can get ready for the other side. If the knees went wide here, bring them back directly underneath the hips, hands underneath shoulders. Cat, cow. Cow pose is the first pose. It's the back bend. Inhale, look forward, arching the back. Exhale, round into cat, hold cat. Some pressure into the ground with the hands, strong arms to keep that curvature in the spine. You might even tuck chin in towards chest. That's fine for now. Now start shifting weight into the left foot. Your left knee. Your left knee. Pick up the right knee and extend the right leg back, straightening it, but keep the toes on the ground for balance. Your spine is starting to lengthen. Go ahead and extend through the neck so you're looking directly down, perhaps between your hands. Pick up the left hand and extend it forward. With an effort, reach with an inhale. When you exhale, continue to pull belly button up towards spine. And you want to get another hugging in sensation. Imagine that your knee and hand are still on the ground and you're actually trying to hold on to something between the limbs. Imagine you've got like a big beach ball between the arms on your forearms and you're squeezing them together to hold onto the beach ball. Same with maybe between your knees. Squeeze to center to hold onto those imaginary objects. So we're inhaling to extend, exhale, squeeze. Now you can keep the right foot on the ground or lift it. Now we've been here a long time on this side, so we'll inhale. Exhale, let's bring the hand and knee back down. Let's rest again. Knees wide, sit back, child's pose. It's a lot of pressure, especially on the right hand. In that particular spinal balance, a lot of pressure gets put on the hands. We want to relax that for a few moments. And again, feel free to bring the arms behind you so your hands, your fingers, your wrists can relax as well as your shoulders. So what's spinal balance? We're going to get into that back bend I was talking about. 2 more breaths here in child's pose. Now, in child's pose, like I said, there is a sense of lengthening through the spine, but there's also a mild curvature in the spine. And they kind of work in unison together like that. Okay, let's come back up. Kind of come up to your knees here just briefly, and then maybe sit off to the side so you don't have to sit on your knees, okay? Now, you can just watch me for this first time as I kind of prep everything and show you the pose. So just take a comfortable seat, grab some water if you'd like. Now, I'm going to use my blanket. That's where my head is going to go. I need to adjust my mat for a second. Okay, so I got my blanket here. That's where my head is going to go. I'm going to bring my big cushion in, maybe about here. I'm going to actually face this direction here, okay? And then lie down. But what I'm going to do is when I lie down, I'm basically draping myself over this big cushion. So the cushion is kind of running across my shoulder blades, allowing for my shoulders to be kind of free and my head is free to bring my head down behind me. Now, my cushion is pretty thick, which means my head has to go pretty far, and it feels like I don't feel as comfortable as I'd like to be with my neck and throat. So I could actually fold the blanket a little bit more to tuck underneath my head, but just for convenience sake, I'm going to grab my small block, place it back here, and that's great. That feels really nice and comfortable for my neck. But basically, I've created a supported back bend. It's a version of what we call fish pose. Okay, so go ahead and set yours up. So maybe a blanket underneath you on the ground or even rolled up, at your head, okay? Use your big cushion if you happen to have one, or the alternative was to take maybe a couple of blocks. Maybe I'll show you with that. Take a couple of blocks or big books to soften the edges. Maybe place a blanket or a towel over them. Okay, this may not give you much height, but you can still kind of create the same effect. Lie on top of your objects there, right at the shoulder blades, which creates this broadening of the chest and this back bend appeal, especially as your head tips back. Now, this feels a little bit better on my neck because I'm not lifted as high, so I can actually do this quite fine. Again, this is fish pose. And what I like to think about in this posture is that it's kind of an elongated back bend. There's not too much arch in the back. You're kind of long and then draped over your prop here. And one of the reasons why this pose was performed in the early stages of the physical yoga practice was to lengthen the spine, to create space in the spine. The spine was thought of as the main part of the body that determined your health. If you had a healthy spine, you usually had a healthy body. So they really did things physically, like in the yoga practice, the physical yoga practice, to heal and take care of the spine. And this was one of those poses. All right, let's take about 3 more breaths here. Hopefully you were able to find a way into the pose using some props. Now, another way to do this without props is actually kind of you'd be more engaged. You're actually propped up on your bent elbows, arching the back and resting on the crown of your head very gently. Now, that would be very different sensation. Now, we do that in a different style of class, but for soft flow, we like to use the support of our props. Now, instead of just trying to lift yourself up off of your out of your back bend, I would suggest maybe rolling to one side. Okay, so you're practically just rolling off of your props, rolling to one side, so you can use your hands to help press and just lift yourself up to a seated position. Okay, and then we can move our props out of the way. Now we're going to lie back down. I'm just going to move my blanket out of the way as well. We're going to lie back down. So once you've moved your props out of the way, go ahead and lie back down. Lie down with your knees bent and feet on the ground. Hold here. Now we are going to do another back bend. This is one we typically do in this class. And so instead of that elongated back bend that we do in fish pose, we're going to have a little bit more lift in the hips, but we support it with blocks or your books. So grab your blocks or books, have them in your hand, knees bent, feet flat on the ground. When you're ready, a nice exhale, press feet into the ground to lift your hips and slide your props underneath you to sit on. Now you can just keep your feet planted into the ground, arms just down by your side, and this is perfect. So a different sensation, okay, in the body. Really lifting the hips, opening up through the chest. Now you can make this a little bit more elongated if you want to. And the way to do that actually is just to simply extend the legs out front, like so. So it's elongated. It's kind of like this low bridge, hips lifting high and supported on the blocks. So a little different sensation you can probably sense when compared to the fish pose, which had a little bit more focus on the upper body. If this is a little uncomfortable at all, so to avoid any strain or stress, you might want to keep the knees bent, feet on the ground, so you can really soften into the pose. Three more breaths. After the third breath, just press your feet into the ground so you can lift your hips, so you can remove your blocks out from underneath you and just place them down as you come down. Go ahead and extend your entire body. Extend your legs out front and then extend your arms back behind you and just reach with a little effort in these opposite directions. Again, just finding some length in your whole spinal cord. And then bring your arms back down by your side. Hold here for a moment, just a little preview to Shavasana. We have a few more poses that we're going to do. Go ahead and bend your knees again, feet on the ground. And with that support, just notice, at least for me, I'm able to feel my whole back touch the ground when my knees are bent and feet are on the ground. When I extend my legs, my back naturally arches and I can't touch the ground with my low back. And that might be different for you. But see what happens when you do bend your knees, plant the feet. Are you able to feel the whole back body, even your low back, touch the ground? From there, hug both knees into chest and then extend the legs up into the air. Now the legs don't have to be absolutely straight. They can be bent. Just use your hands, along the back side of the legs here just to support. Now we're elongating, where we're creating an inverted posture or going upside down. Just elevating the feet and legs. Meanwhile, your back is flat for the most part, and just melting into the ground. Just the heaviness of the upper body pressing into the ground as you extend the legs up into the air. Just a few more breaths. And then we'll bend the knees, give yourself another hug of the knees into chest. One more spinal exercise, and it's spinal twist. We did spinal balance. Now let's do spinal twist. So we're slowly taking the knees, both knees, over to the left side. Now what you could do, if the legs don't touch the ground, bring in a prop, a pillow, blanket rolled up, a block, anything, so that that left knee or leg rests on that prop so you don't over-rotate here. When the knees go to the left, extend your right arm to the right. That will create that rotation in the spine. We'll hold here for several breaths. If that's still a little bit too much, then you may want to place maybe a rolled up towel or blanket or block between the knees in addition to the one that's underneath the left leg. And just see if you can just kind of hold here once again in a relaxed position, that you don't feel like you're holding yourself in the posture too much, but you can almost just kind of melt and relax into it. 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, we'll come back up to center. You can even hug the knees in once again. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and take the knees down to the other side. Again, using your props as you'd like. I'm certainly using the props today for this. So as the knees go to the right, I'm placing a block underneath the right knee. I'm also placing another block between the knees, and this feels really nice on my back as it doesn't feel like it's straining or pulling too harshly. So knees to the right as your left arm extends to the left. And once again, just seeing if you can lie quite comfortably here. And go ahead and take 3 more breaths. And when you're ready, let's return to center. Once again, just lying flat on your back, knees bent, feet on the ground. Let's take a hip opener. So bring the legs together so they touch, if they can, just closer together. Slowly take the knees out to either side of the room so that the soles of the feet can touch. Just like we did in seated, we did this posture. Knees bent and open to the side, once again using props underneath the legs, because of course they do not have to touch the ground. And when they just rest on the objects, you naturally relax in the entire body. And it provides a natural stretch in the inner thighs. And even notice what parts of your whole back body touch the ground. Notice if your whole back, upper, middle, and lower back touch the ground. And if your low back happens to be slightly lifted away from the ground, what you may want to do, just an option, maybe take something like a hand towel, something that you can roll up, but a small roll, so you can place between you and the floor at your low back region, just so that there is contact with an object. For many of these poses, you can hold them as long as you'd like. Those twisting postures, that spinal twist that we did, the leg extension in the air, the supported bridge pose, and even this posture, this hip opener, this reclining bound angle pose. But for now, let's go ahead and take 3 more breaths. And when you're complete, you can bring the knees together, lifting the knees, plant the feet into the ground, pause for a moment, then extend both legs out in front, straight as can be, and extend your arms behind you again. Reach and lengthen in the opposite directions. Inhale, and exhale, just bring your arms down by your side. Now we're ready for Shavasana, so you can just stay just like this, lying flat on your back. Your feet and legs are relaxed, your hips, your back, shoulders and arms and hands. But if you need a little extra support, so for me, as I mentioned earlier, when I lie flat like this, my back is arched. And it feels okay, but I feel like I could be a little bit more comfortable in this position. So what I like to do, one thing I like to do, is take my blanket or a towel, roll it up, and tuck it underneath my knees, so my knees are slightly bent and kind of opened out a little bit. Then I feel much more connected to the ground and more relaxed. So do whatever you need to do or want to do to feel more relaxed. Now you could even elevate your legs a little higher. You can even do legs against the wall. That is a yoga pose. Now we did something very similar. We were lying flat on our backs and extended the legs straight up into the air and held on to the legs. You can do the same thing, but just rest your legs up on a wall. And maybe some cushioning underneath your head and back. If lying on your back is not comfortable today, maybe rolling on your side and just lying on your side, or even coming up to seated if you want to. Wherever you are, just find stillness, the ease in breath and body. You can keep your eyes opened or close them. Take your journey inward. Paying attention to the steady flow of your breath.
Breathing in and out, allowing your mind and body to completely relax, and knowing that you can stay here as long as you'd like. If your mind begins to wander, which sometimes happens when you're lying very still and relaxed, just notice the thought, acknowledge the thought, then take a nice full breath in and out to release that thought for now and come back to the present moment. Maybe you even think about your spine today. Just moving through several poses, thinking about the health of your spine. When it is time to move, rather than moving too quickly, start with breath, maybe taking 5 slow, deep breaths. As you're breathing in and out, just feeling movement, return to your body, taking your time. And then sometime after your 5th breath, it doesn't have to be right away, feeling movement in the body, and carefully roll onto the side of your body. Use your hands and a breath to press and lift yourself up to seated. Just returning to a comfortable seated posture like we did at the beginning of our practice. Feel free to sit on something soft like your blanket or pillow. Maybe cross your legs if that feels good. Sit up nice and tall, lengthening through the spine. Shoulders relaxed, arms down by your side, hands in your lap. Take a breath. And then one more movement together. Inhale, reach out and up into the air. And exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Hold here in stillness. Take another breath or two. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste.